Anyways, and now that we're done with the absurdity shit, moving on. You know, it's like
we're gonna look more civil here. Okay.
Yeah, more civil. Well, we could keep talking about boobs all night, you know. It's like we could start flashing up. Well, this is a boob.
All right,
and this
moving
on. Okay, moving on to Microsoft. I mean, obviously, you know, IE9's out. I'm not going to go into that first one because we kind of need more people here to go into that. IE9 is out, and we know that, and that's a good thing. Another interesting twist with IE9 is supposedly, and I use this term adamantly, supposedly there is a add-on for IE as long as you have IE9 that will let it play WebM, which would make IE the only browser that can play both predominant HTML5 standards, WebM and H.264. I say supposedly because one of the things that I have been doing all day is screwing around with WebM and H.264 compatibility with all the browsers and the various plugins you can add on and so forth, and the ways in which it will or will not display video properly. And the reality is, I honestly have to say that all of them fail right now. If you want to go WebM, Chrome works great. If you want to go H.264, Safari works great. Right now, Chrome largely doesn't play H.264 very well because of Google dropping support for that. Safari doesn't play WebM because Apple obviously wants everything to be H.264. They don't want an open web standard. They like a world where in 2014 the H.264 standard changes to some type of license thing that browsers
they get a royalty.
Well, no. Well, what it'll be is browsers will have to pay for and license it. And that's very favorable to both Microsoft and Apple, and Chrome could foot the bill. That's a death sentence to browsers like Mozilla, Opera, and all the variations on there. Basically, they'll just die because they won't be able to update. They won't be able to embrace the standard. They'll have to either come up with a whole new business model, or they'll have to.
It might be a workaround a plugin or something.
Well, yeah, but then that's kind of not in the spirit of what HTML5 is supposed to be. I just go there with my browser and it just works, you know. So it's, you know, it'll basically be, we'll need a different plugin, and yeah, there'll probably be a plugin, but it basically it's creating undue hardship on the end user. It's one of those what just works over here, doesn't. So yeah, but. I bring up the supposedly because, you know, the obvious other thing is Firefox came out today. You know, Firefox 4 came out today.
Well, it's about time.
And on that note, I should change the date of this show to the right date because I'm still saying it's the 8th. No, it is the 22nd, people. It's the day of Firefox launch.
Speaking of download, but I'm just waiting for it to be patched and for all the add-ons to be you know.
Yeah, well, no, and I've tried it. I have to say, overall, Firefox 4 is good. It has much better JavaScript rendition. Going forward, I see the web using a lot more JavaScript, a lot more jQuery. I basically threw some jQuery and JavaScript, like the type of navigations that people would be using, and the types of things, and they used to lag a little. It wasn't that they didn't run, but if you had a lot of things running, like if you had like a few hundred tabs open and your computer was doing some resources, they would lag in Firefox. With Firefox 4, they don't lag. They run as smooth as they do in Chrome, which is a good thing. I don't like that the menu bar is turned off by default, but you can turn it on. I think
that's a good thing. It's the same with IE9.
Well, no, well, no. With IE9, it's a registry hack.
No, IE9 is not a registry hack anymore.
Oh, they've changed that back. Okay, so Microsoft's backing off on that. I hadn't tried to turn it on in IE9 yet. I just assumed you couldn't because the other.
No, all you have to do is right-click on the bar and it's there.
Okay, so it is back there. Okay, it sounds like Microsoft's giving up on trying to kill the menu bar then, because like
That's one.
Yeah. So that's a good thing. But I was focusing today on testing, the video compatibility.
That's like showing off on ActiveX.
Well, no, and that's the other thing. IE9, one of the big problems with IE was really it didn't support jQuery and things like that very well. IE9 final release, while it doesn't support everything, it supports the more common ones, like transition effects and things you would use for creating menus. You can't go nuts with it like you'd like to, but you can at least create a pleasant user experience and know that it's going to work in IE, which is a good thing. So that's a good thing for IE9. Now, it gets very easily confused with the video tag if it's not H.264. So while you can add WebM support, it's temperamental. And we're kind of covering IE and FireFox at the same time here. FireFox is also temperamental. And that was a surprise to me, but it's the reality. And we'll probably talk more about this in Linux this week. But the reality is I threw a dozen things at both. I threw them at Chrome, Firefox, and IE. And
okay, how'd it go?
Yeah, all of the WebM ones worked in Chrome. Obviously, it's like who's surprised there. In both, the ones that failed in Firefox also failed in IE, but they failed differently. One of the things I noticed that IE has a really hard problem with is, especially for the video tag, is pseudo full screen. One of the things you can do with the video tag is you can use percent marks instead of an actual size and actually do a pseudo full screen scaling. You can do that with a lot of elements. Apparently, IE still can't handle this properly, which means it will not properly scale things. I also noticed that both IE and Firefox have problem with scaling video in general, in that you cannot do auto scaling with them. It will make smart guesses, but both of them get it wrong in a different way. As far as for WebM compatibility for both of these browsers, now for IE we're talking about when you add the plugin on, but they both fail a lot. It's real hit or miss what kind of WebM support they have, and that's surprising for Mozilla. Like I said, I threw a dozen things at them. 9 of them failed on both of them.
Mozilla used to be real revolutionary. The Firefox used to be the flagship browser of its day, but now...
No, and I mean, I love Firefox, but I have to bash them on this, especially since one of the videos that Mozilla cannot recognize as a valid WebM file and play is, that VP8 demo with the giant bunny that's been around for about a year? It can't play that. I downloaded that, loaded it through it. It just shows that big gray X, which, not a good thing. The same. Now, there is hope in the mobile arena. Firefox, it has some things going. Well, there's a Firefox for mobile on Android. It fixes, if they can fix compatibility with WebM and some other stuff, I think it'll be a great browser, but they have to fix these things. One of the things it does great is it doesn't try and make assumptions like Chrome does on Android. On Android, Chrome makes a lot of assumptions. It makes assumptions about how certain things are meant to be used, and that's a bad thing. We'll go into this more when we go into that, but because that's a whole show in and of itself. But it's one of those, as it is right now, unfortunately, the two browsers that are king, that are most ready, but are pulling diametrically opposite standards for what the future of the web is Safari and Chrome. And that's not a good thing, IE, Mozilla, and Opera need to get on board with being at least as good as Chrome.
It uses Opera anyway.
Well, but it's still one of the top 5. Okay, IE and Mozilla. There's a lot of Opera users though, especially in niche things like this in tech. It's like, and I don't hate Opera. It's just, but like you say, it's not a large market share. I can't vouch good or bad about Opera because I haven't actually run it through its paces.
You know, instead of telling people to use FireFox, tell them to use Opera instead. You know, so they can get some market share.
Yeah. But I don't want to suggest that yet because I haven't, like I said, I haven't run Opera through its paces yet. You know, and I don't want everybody to be stuck with Chrome because there are people who don't like Chrome or don't trust Google or don't, you know, there's obvious things.
And they want the menu bar and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is not an option at all in Chrome. It's just not there. So, yeah. Moving on to the HP goodiness. You know.
All right.
Well, unless there's anything else you want to say on that.
Nah.
Okay. It's like HP is, of course, you know, still trying to pseudo combine the Microsoft's and HP business model. You see Microsoft and Apple, you know, to form this HP business model. I wish them luck with this, but I don't know.
So they're basically trying to be like a Mac, running with Windows on default too.
Well, and one of the things that is clearly planned to go along with this business model is HP wants to start doing a lot more SaaS, software as a service, and cloud-based solutions. And it's not that HP can't do this, but one of the real problems with doing cloud-based solutions right now, I mean, you know, I've written...
Data plants from hell.
Well, no, I've written things like this for some clients. They wind up being real data hogs. Now, it's a one-time load, and then the app's there and all the interactive stuff. But, you know, a good 10 to 20 page interactive app, depending what type of content it is, what type of stuff's being loaded, can wind up using upwards of a third of a gig. Which on modern high-speed internet connections doesn't take that long to load, and the initial UI loads fast enough that you don't even notice the rest of the stuff's loading. But at the end of the day, what that basically means is you're winding up with technology that in the case of HP they'd largely be charging for, which because of limits being imposed by AT&T and Verizon are like $4 per use.
Yeah. So.
And that I don't care how good it is, how much it optimizes the workflow. We are in a recession, you know.
Regulators need to step in and stop all this stuff,
the economy has not bounced back yet, and it's one of those things. I see that being the first thing every single company cuts. You know, $4 per use, we just can't afford it. You know.
No, screw that. We'll go back to the binary model. You know.
Yeah. So, well, and they're going to have a hard time charging for that stuff if they can't make it, oh dear God, impressive like that. So it's just
maybe it'll stay worse.
Well, no,
no,
but believe me, I do think this is the future of computing. I'm just not sure at this point I would hang the hat for my company on it. I mean, it's one thing if you're a startup company and it's not like you have anything to really lose by just going all the way to the hill. But this is one of those things that could break HP if they commit to this too much and the things don't work out just right. So, I don't know if you want to say anything else on that.
I'm saying good luck with HP with that. You know, they're gonna need.
Everybody's wondering what the CEO's thinking. They really are. Like, although I have to admit, you know, it's. When I hear the obsession that's starting to go on with HP is kind of reminding me of, you know, you remember 10 years ago where people were like, what is Steve Jobs thinking? What is he saying? So I'm like, yo, maybe they have that aspect of it.
Is this on a phone? What does it do?
It's like
It's shut off for cell phone.
You know, that is one aspect of that HP has gotten right. It's like, and they clearly are trying to clone some of that into their business model.